Hello, and be welcome to the world of darkness. Long ago was it that the sin of Cain spawned the cursed horror that stalks the street at night in search of living blood. The kindred have long been a secret influence through all ages of human history, plotting against one another in a never-ending jihad. Their immortal progeny are among us to this day, hidden from the eyes of humanity by an elaborate masquerade.
I need to find... You said I can feel the warmth, the radiance of the place around me.
Well, that's just Westminster in general. Whether that is the aura of faith described by your Domitor is impossible to say, really.
But being of the occult, could I wager that's probably what it is? Or
give me a intelligence and occult. Which, by the way, where is it that Thomas is heading within the Abbey?
Well, I think the first thing I should do is go to the library and see if I can research anything about wards.
You can tell, now that you are thinking more clearly of it, as you walk the halls of the Westminster, especially as you near any of the iconography or certain person present, that you do feel a sense of shame that is not natural. Something about this place is bringing those uncomfortable thoughts, those memories of shame to your mind.
Out of character. I'm still in the moon cult, aren't I? I'm at least still a distant associate.
You're still a member.
My question is, how much would I know about wards already?
When it comes to things such as this, it's somewhat new to you. Though, go ahead and roll another intelligence and occult as you continue your way to the library, now in the upper recesses of the church, venturing southward towards the back wing where you might find the library. As your footsteps echo around you and you move, you can't think of anything remotely similar. The closest thing you can conjure is how it's simpler for you to call upon a spirit in a place where the gauntlet is thinner. Hence why the Highgate Cemetery is so easy a place for you to draw forth a spirit. Perhaps the gauntlet here is immensely thick, maybe. It is spiritual energy of some fashion, but that's the most you can think of.
Out of character. Oh, I was just gonna say, out of character. If an unholy act was done inside of a ward, would that disable it?
It's a theory.
But one I'll need to actually look up.
Possibly. Or, well, you'd have to be very careful with your choice of words, but even discuss with some of the other holy men of the Abbey In fact, as you venture into the library, the columns upon columns of books stretching throughout the interior, with only 4 sparse squared tables, large enough to fit maybe all around it 8 people at a given time, is stretched and illuminated about you. Only 2 other people sit here at this time. That being an older holy man and a much younger one, maybe not even fully in his maturity, 16 at most, though you would guess around that age, sat beside him with several books in front of him. The older gentleman seems to be more or less supervising, looking over what the younger man does. You recognize him immediately, your memory impeccable for such things. You could almost say identical. That is no common man of the cloth. No. He is a... Oh,
He is who?
He is a deacon of the Anglican Church, thus above the type of position you covet.
I see.
You recall his name being Harriet Gardner.
What is the reputation of Mr. Gardner?
A very devout and studious gentleman with no real political aspirations, at least within the hierarchy of the church. Though he is quite the font of information, a pedagogal man, really. Though the biggest issue when addressing him is then getting him to not talk anymore.
I'll make a mental note of the pair, and then I'll go about my work. First things first, I will need to... well, I'm going to need to come up with my cover. So, I will skim the shelves for anything related to not demonic, but paranormal activity. Though as bare as the shelves might be for that such information, I will also then move on to wards and such, any books that I can find that might regard that part. And then I'll finish it off with any census data, so any birth and death records that the church might keep here regarding to Highgate.
Go ahead and roll a... Perception and occult. The difficulty is a 9. And this is what we call in the world of darkness an extended roll.
Okay, and what do I need to roll?
A perception and occult. Or rather, an intelligence and enigma. Common sense. Something that might help would be records related to possession, exorcism, or even documentation of certain unwelcomed influences, such as the rising sun, the golden dawn, and so forth.
Okay, I will also add those to the list of things to skim over.
Thus, within the first 20 minutes, as you splay out your copious volumes of books about you at one of the tables, and begin your research, you read through accounting after accounting to the very dry reads of clergymen past. Frankly, it's hard to keep your focus. You feel like you're going to fall asleep reading this crap. Half of it you already know. You move on. Would you like to roll again?
Yes. Out of character, still. Would the Library of the Moon probably have more information on this than the church would, at least when it comes to in-depth research?
It may. Then again, they may even be even speaking to them, you might be able to get, frankly, a much more open idea of how to do something of the sort.
I'll mark that down as a... I would know this I would know this in character, right? Yeah, okay. I figured I would.
In one of the tomes, as you pour through them, you do come across a strange mention of an event which happened in Ely some nearly 6 centuries ago, which disturbed the holy nature of the city and brought about agents of the church to investigate.
I will read on. I will continue to read that story then.
Go ahead and roll. This time the difficulty being lowered.
That's good to hear.
As you read onward, what is described is of a desecrated church just off of the Great River Ouse near Ely, wherein it is only described as desecrated in such a fashion where such horrible practice took place that only the devil's influence ruled over. It describes in a decent amount of fucking detail a bizarre altar which made the mockery face of a man on which organs were discovered to have been boiled and burned, and the blood within coursed through parts of the church, which many to this day cannot recognize even existed. This is only taken down by a individual who describes himself as a member of the Gladius Day, who marks the page with a strange symbol that you've only seen once before, your memory bringing to mind your mentor back in Dublin would mark several of his letters exclusively to some people, though he never mentioned who, with that same marking.
Would I happen to know if this was a offshoot, or if this was part of the Order of Enlightenment, or the order I was in prior to joining the Moon Cult.
No, completely unrelated. Supposedly this individual was followed by two members of the Office of the Censor, another group you're not familiar with the name of, in this investigation, and yet it was only after he performed an act that he was able to determine and reveal the location to them, though many of the people of Ely still could not see or recall such a place.
Okay. I am going to pull out my notebook. Is anyone watching me currently?
Not in particular.
Okay. I'm going to write down the ritual and the symbol described. The man and the names. The name of the order from which the man says he's from. And I'm going to cross-reference this with other material I might have.
He also describes a particular emblem which was marked on several of the walls. Go ahead and make your roll. You conclude that these documents are not documents, belonging to the Anglican Church. These are documents recovered from the Cathedral of Ely that were still in fairly deep condition when they were left. These are Catholic documents. What makes that more interesting is it's described in the collection of documents that they were to be brought here by order of a holy man, of yet another mysterious group referring to themselves as the Order of St. George. These individuals you remember. These individuals you recall because your mentor was one of them.
And would I know what St. George's mandate is?
What St. George's mandate is, my man, you're a man of the church.
Fair.
You know who St. George is and his mandates. Hell, he's the patron saint of England. Which, for the Irish, it doesn't do shit, but,
Fair.
He was also a saint highly popularized during the Crusades and the 100 Years' War.
While I am here, I'm going to do some cross-referencing material on that symbol.
Go ahead and make another roll. You are unable to discover any other reference. You pore through accounts and anything even related to the region of which Ely is located. You move past Northumberland, trying to focus closer to Essex, where London is. Nothing.
I have roughly been there for, what would you say, 2 hours? 6?
Little over, getting close to 2 hours, yeah.
Okay. I would sit there and yawn and think. while I'm here, I'm going to see if there's anything. Speaking of the blood-sucking variety.
Go ahead and roll. I'm guessing you're going to move about the. You're going to check the book.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and make another roll.
Same as before.
Mm-hmm. What you discover is, in a word, deeply, deeply interesting. Supposedly, within the Tower of London and its vicinity, there is a legend related to one you are aware of. One that goes back a long time into Irish mythology, even, which only further is to surprise. For one, there is mentions of a Morlock society, one which dwells beneath streets, one which kidnaps people in the night, turning them into wretched monsters with a hunger for blood, as described in, yes, religious speak, blah, 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 blah. They seek the precursor, and there is a mention of something referred to as Gehenna.
Now that's going to pique my interest. The word Gehenna. Can I, again, cross-reference it with any material the church has that I have access to in this library?
You may. It's mentioned in a very, 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 very... Oh, I'm just joking. You don't find shit on it. This mention of the Morlock Society, however, is a brief one believed to be in relation to the Tower of London, where it is described to be not only severely haunted by spirits past and drawn out by a member of the supposed society whom wreathes himself in raven's feathers and is able to fly through the night to abduct his victim. Seems that's the only account of it at all. And with that, end of scene and session.
Ah, I was having such fun.